I think that for me, creating my own startup, and especially being a part of BetaStart, is one of the main things. Whenever people ask me if I had done anything different with my startup, I would have said I would have done something like BetaStart much earlier. I think the main advantage at that time, when we were doing the startup, was that we were in a very closed environment as the founders, right? And so we are working with the same 3 or 4 people every single day, and it's like every idea that you have is always awesome. Everybody sort of pats each other on the back, and every idea is great because you're not being challenged, right? You're living within that small ecosystem. And that was the first really big advantage and really big gain that we got as soon as we got to BetaStart, is that because of BetaI's network of mentors, just network of other startups as well, because the Lisbon Challenge was happening at the same time as BetaStart, is that suddenly we were exposed to all these amazing startups, all these really, really smart people who, again, I mean, they don't want to spare your feelings. They're not your friends and family. You know, when you create a startup, all your friends and family always say that it's a great idea and that it's definitely going to work out. These guys ask you the hard questions, right? How are you going to sell this? How are you going to create your product? How are you going to fundraise, right? And it actually forced us to think about all these tough things, and it made us grow that much more. We had a really, really great experience at when we did BetaStart, and if anything, I mean, it taught me one thing, which is startups is what I want to do for the rest of my life. It's what I love to do, and it's where I want to work for the rest of my life. And it was actually quite funny because I got invited to join Zomato because when I was doing my startup, I pitched a partnership to another company, which then the founder of that company actually became the country manager of Zomato here in Portugal, and he was the one who invited me to join the Zomato team. So if it weren't for that, I would not be part of it. The main difference that I saw is when you have your own startup and you're still starting small, you don't have money, you're a one-man show, right? You have to do everything. If a lawyer is needed, you're the lawyer. If you need to code a page, then guess what? I guess I'm learning HTML today. Let me Google this. And suddenly, by going to Zomato, which is obviously a much larger startup with a lot more funding, then suddenly you get the really good part, which is you can impact a really large product and you can sort of take ownership of initiatives and drive them forward. If there's something that you feel, it's your own company, right? And we really feel at Zomato that we are building our own company and we're making it grow every day. And that if we don't do it, like, it's not going to grow on its own. And at Zomato, what you get to do is, because we're well funded, we're well structured, you get all of the really, really good stuff of creating a startup. You get to make a change. You get to create growth around you, but you're extremely well supported. Okay. Networking is very, very big. You won't get anywhere on your own. You will, and Portugal has an amazing startup ecosystem. Everybody will go out of their way to help you and to introduce you to someone who can help. And we usually joke around and we say that Lisbon and even Portugal is a little P. Everybody's really, really accessible. So networking plays a huge part. Second thing is be humble enough and be able to look at yourself from the outside in and look at your company and see, don't be proud. Always see where you can be doing better and just strive for that. I think would be the 2 biggest tips I'd be able to give.